evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening. I'd like to welcome everybody that's joined us in the gallery, and I'd also like to welcome all the members of the town administration that are here this evening. I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting for the town of Didsbury for Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. The time is 6 p.m. If I could ask for a motion on the agenda, that would be great.
I move that council adopt the agenda as presented.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you. The first item on our agenda is delegations. Item 3.1 is the presentation of the town of Didsbury's 2026 high school scholarship to Sierra Penner, who I don't believe I see in the gallery. Are any of her family or friends here on her behalf? No? Okay. I will read a little speech that I prepared and we'll present it to her at a later date. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to present the Town of Didsbury High School Scholarship Award to Sierra Penner. Sierra is a remarkable example of dedication, perseverance, and community involvement. She will be attending the University of Lethbridge this fall to pursue a combined degree in education and music with the goal of becoming a band teacher. Her passion for music and her desire to inspire and support future students truly reflect the qualities that the scholarship celebrates. Throughout her school years, Sierra has consistently demonstrated leadership and a commitment to others. She has been actively involved in school leadership, volunteered with the Didsbury Municipal Library, participated in numerous sports and community activities, and shared her love of music by teaching younger students. Sierra's achievements in academics, athletics, and music are impressive, but what stands out most is her determination, work ethic, and willingness to keep learning and growing. She has shown that success not only comes from talent, but also from dedication and resilience. We are honored to support Sierra as she begins this next chapter and continues her journey towards becoming an educator who will make a lasting impact on others. Congratulations to Sierra, and best wishes for your future success. Thank you. We've normally got up taking a picture, but I guess we'll forego that for a later date. So we'll move on to the second delegation that we have for this evening, which is item 3.2. Kai, do you have your proposal ready? If you want to come up and join us, that would be great. If you could just introduce yourself, full name, and begin where you'd like.
Hello, my name is Kai Mrazek. Thank you so much for seeing me tonight, Council. I know that you have a very busy schedule, so I'll try and be prompt so that you can accomplish everything you have to do tonight. This evening, I'd like to present to you on elevating Didsbury through video content. I know Didsbury has a brand new council, and as a local Didsburyan, I'm very thankful for that, and I'm thankful for all the ideas that you have brought forth. As a young person and speaking with other young people in the community, I'm very thankful for all the changes we've been seeing and continue to see thus far. However, if we could go to the next slide. Are those ideas actually reaching the people of Didsbury? A new council can have the best ideas in the province. However, if those ideas aren't delivered and the people don't see them, are they actually going to be accomplished? That's where we help close the gap. Next slide, please. So who are we and why should we be trusted? My company is called M Media, and we already have the privilege of serving other municipalities and towns in the area, such as the town of Sundre. We service the town of Sundre with video content every single month. Mountain View County, we've had an ongoing relationship with the county for the last 4 years, and recently just concluded a 20 video project for the county, which I'll be referencing a little bit later. And as of last week, the city of Red Deer has contracted us to start producing video and social media content for them as well. Not only are we privileged to work with other communities and counties in the area, but we also have the privilege of serving on a regular basis big brands such as Kubota, Dairy Queen, and Amber Marshall from Heartland. These are just a few of the names that we have the privilege of working with. So if these communities around Didsbury trust us with their voice, Didsbury should have that same advantage. Next slide, please. Why does this matter for the town? Why should it matter? Reaching the residents where they are. The residents of Didsbury are already on Facebook and Instagram every single day. Unfortunately, I know I hate it too, the quick videos that all the young kids are on. every single day, a lot of times annoy us, but that's where people are, and that's where people are receiving messages. Gone are the days where people will sit in front of long-form content or read written content. I know that this council meeting is being recorded and is on YouTube, but very few people will actually sit and watch through a 2 to 3 hour video. Turning vision into visibility. The council's initiatives, projects, and decisions become clear through engaging and clear content. Building trust and transparency through consistent content. As I mentioned earlier, Mountain View County recently concluded a 20 video series where they brought us in and had us capture every single project and service that the county offers to their taxpayers and local residents, such as snow clearing, such as re-graveling, such as patching. Every single service that the county offers, we did a video on so that taxpayers can actually understand where their money is going and what services the county provide to them through short form content. That project was concluded over the last 6 months. We want to showcase Didsbury and show what makes it special. Next slide, please. So how would a partnership work, and what do we actually offer? So the partnership would work on a credit basis. Each credit can be attributed to one of the following: a video or a reel, a photo shoot, graphic design, or drone photos. So what would that mean for the town of Didsbury? For instance, the council decides to make an investment, be that renovations to the aquatic center as an example, and they would choose to use one of their credits towards a drone photo shoot. We would come in and professionally capture and update photos as the project continues so that residents and of course council can see the developments as it progresses. A video or a reel. What type of videos could the town use? An example that I would really like to bring forward is this council meeting. These council meetings, as I mentioned, are posted 2 to 3 hour videos. Most people won't sit and watch through them. A proposal that I would like to bring forward is us editing the footage and making a bird's eye view video of 60 to 120 seconds, 1 to 2 minutes long, where residents can see exactly what happened at council, the big points that were mentioned, what decisions were made, and what is happening in short form content that is digestible for the general public. These are some of the ideas that we would like to do through this partnership. Now, what happens is a lot of times municipalities and counties say, well, what happens if we have a month where there's not a lot going on and we don't happen to capture anything? Those credits would roll over into the next month and can be used anytime throughout the year. So if there's a busier season, those credits can be used later on in the year. They can be used across any department, and this plan or the subscription for content can be paused or canceled anytime after the initial 2-month trial period, so you're not locked in for a long term if council is not seeing the value in it. Next slide, please. What does it cost? Of course, that's what we all want to know. There's 3 packages. The starter package, which is $675. It comes with 1 credit a month, so one of the above services that was previously mentioned. 1 shoot day a month. Our standard turnaround time for any video or project that would be captured for a town of Didsbury is 5 to 7 business days. We prioritize quick and fast turnaround times and try to be as efficient as possible. The standard package costs $1,999, which provides 4 credits a month. This is the package that Mountain View County is currently on, and they have been on for the last 2 years. Again, 5 to 7 business day turnaround time, and that would be 4 credits a month, including 2 shoot days a month. And then we have the elite package, which is much more expensive. Our client, Kubota Canada, is currently on this package, and of course it provides higher credits, which would be 10. Now, for the town of Didsbury, should this be something that council would see as value in communicating to the residents and something that council would want to move forward with, this would be something that we would like to include for council for free should they choose to move forward with any of the above packages, which would be full social media management. A lot of times, and I know people in the town office are already very busy, once we capture this content, who's going to post it, where's it going to go, who's going to take that on? To manage social media for any brand, company, or county or community, we charge $1,000 a month. However, for the town of Didsbury, we would include that service for free of charge, because I want to help my town. So you would be receiving, should you move forward with any of the above packages, free social media management, so that wouldn't have to be offloaded onto someone else's plate in the town. Next slide, please. We live here too. Along with my team, we're all Didsburyans, we're local, and we care about Didsbury. This is not an out-of-town agency from Calgary that's going to come in and read a script and bring big ideas from big towns that don't often work in a small local community. We live here, and we want to help elevate Didsbury with content that does the community justice. Next slide, please. So what would the next steps be should council choose that this would be something valuable and want to move forward with at this point or later on in the year? We would choose a package that would meet the town's budget. We would then proceed with having a meeting surrounding what council's plans are and what projects are coming up in the coming months and that season. And then we would get rolling. We would film, produce, post, and deliver the content, bringing Didsbury's story to life. Thank you so much for your time. In terms of the presentation, I have concluded. If you have any questions or would like to ask me anything, I would love to take those questions now.
Thanks very much for the presentation. Great information. Much appreciated. I'll open up the floor to Will. Yeah.
Kai, thank you for the presentation. Appreciate it. I have a couple of questions. Let's see. Two core ones. The first is, you mentioned that Mountain View County and a few other municipal governing bodies are already, have been working with you. You said Mountain View County for 2 years, is that right?
We've been working with Mountain View County for the last 4 years. However, they've been a part of this program for the last 2.
Got it. I'm curious how you, as a marketing agency, how you measure ROI for a municipal government. I mean, if you're selling a product, it's easy. You sell more product, there's a good chance the marketing is working. I'm just curious, first off, how do you handle those metrics?
Absolutely, that's a fantastic question. I can give a direct example from last year. Mountain View County decided to do something different. Normally, as I'm sure it is the same with the town, they produce their annual budget, which was a very long PDF document that most people aren't going to read. We came in, we did a highly engaging animated 2-minute video that included footage capturing the reeve, where she showcased where the budget was going, and we gave an example with different property assessments. And so it was a dynamic 2-minute video. Most of their content that they post and slides that they post got about 100 to 200 views. That video got over 5,000 views and lots of comments and likes. So in terms of being able to measure the ROI, it's generally measured through the amount of views.
Thank you. Okay. No, I have a couple. Go ahead. The second one is related to the credit system, and I'm just going to try and reference it here properly. Or if we could have the slide for it, that would be great. Under the credit system you have listed there, reels and video are marked as an or system, right? So for example, that highly edited video that you put together, with the Reeve would take significantly more time and investment, both in terms of the editing, the production, the whole thing, as well as creating a slightly longer product than what would be a fast 1-minute TikTok or Instagram, right? So if you have a credit system where let's use the standard example for credits in a month, how do you weigh these as sort of the same product? Like, graphic design is a very nebulous term. That's another one I'm curious about, how that sort of functions as a single-use credit, and when that's essentially what you're paying for is X amount of money for X amount of credits. Absolutely,
that's a fantastic question. So to answer that with a direct example from Mountain View County, since that's what we've been discussing, the budget video probably took us accumulated 20 to 25 hours to edit. However, last year, Mountain View County did an event at the Old Didsbury Airport, and a whole bunch of planes came in, and we did a quick 30-second video. That video probably took us about 2 hours to edit. And so we generally know that every single project we are going to do is probably not going to take us 20 to 25 hours, and some projects will take a little bit less and some will take a little bit more. So what we found over doing this over the last 6 years is that it generally balances out. So whether you're doing an extensive project like the budget video, or you're doing a quick video, for example, that would be relevant to Didsbury, a 45-second highlight video of the Didsbury Rodeo weekend, it would be the same amount of credits. One.
So I would assume that on, say, one of these bigger projects, it could incorporate all 4 of those items that you're sort of highlighting up there, and a simpler one might just be a photo shoot that gets posted, you know, as an Instagram post. Okay, all right, thanks.
And then, promise I'll let you go in a moment. One last one. The section where it mentions, here it is, under the standard package, it has, using that again as an example, as you mentioned, it's the most popular. You've got 4 credits listed with 2 shoot days. So does that mean if you want, say, 3 different items and they happen to be across 3 different events, you would have to find a way to truncate them or like mix them together? How does that work? Does that sort of limit the choices?
That is a fantastic question. Yes, generally to be able to make it worth it for our time and my videographer's time, we try and limit it to 2 shoot days a month, so 2 events a month. So say, for example, if you wanted to capture the Didsbury Rodeo and it's multi-day, we would probably only do 1 day. Now, if you had 3 separate events at 3 separate dates, we are local to Didsbury. We're not going to say, no, we're not going to film it. We'll make it work, of course, if there's a one-off situation, but we would try and keep our shoot days to 2 per month in the standard package.
I have one quick. Regarding the social media, you mentioned like full sort of management of the social media platform. Is that function? How do I put this? There's a lot of posts that go into, say, the Town of Didsbury Facebook page, right? And it might be as simple as go check this thing out this day, this thing this day, this thing this day. And they're just simple text posts that people will see as they're scrolling their feed. I assume that's excluded. This would be full management posting of the content that you were involved in specifically.
That is correct. We would offer that as a service, but if we were going to be servicing every single other post, that would have to be discussed ulteriorly. This would just be the content that we would be producing for the town, to not put that onto someone else's plate. Correct, yes.
Thank you. I really appreciate all the answers.
Absolutely.
That's all I had.
That's great. Great questions, Will. Thank you. And then I have 2 things. First one's sort of maybe a comment more than anything. Great presentation, by the way. I'd just like to defend our YouTube viewership. We've had up to 5 viewers. So, yeah, all at once. All jokes aside, we already have someone that does social media for the town, so how would you see, should we choose to hire your services, that sort of integrating into a person that we already have on staff that probably would like to keep doing that? How would you sort of partner up? What would that look like?
Absolutely. Thank you. Fantastic question. Great viewership, by the way. How would we do that? We would definitely want to work with the person, whoever is managing the social media. And again, that was an add-on that we were happy to add for free. If you already have someone doing that, we wouldn't want to step on any toes or take anyone's job by any means. We would want to work with them, ask, and maybe that would be our point of contact for understanding what the goals are of council and of course of the mayor for that season of time for what we would be capturing for the town of Didsbury. We would want to collaborate with them. We've been doing this for a very long time, so we understand what's effective in terms of posting strategy and stuff, and we're happy to share that insight with that person, but we in no means would want to take that person's job.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Sorry, we got another question.
Just thank you. I agree with the power of the visual. And that's not just this generation, okay, that's from many generations ago. So, but you mentioned it could roll over to another month, but could it roll over to another year? First question.
Thank you, Norm. Yes, that is a great question. Actually, we had that instance last year with Mountain View County. They had 2 credits at the end of 2025 that weren't used up, and so it rolled over into this year. That is correct.
Great answer. I think that's my initial thought, without discussion with the rest, is that I would like to hear some community input about that over the summer. And maybe in our fall plans for finances for the following year, we can include it in our discussions for budget.
Yeah, I think that's a great direction, Norm. Thanks. Any other questions or comments from council? No? Well, listen, thank you very much for the presentation, okay? Much appreciated. We'll have to obviously give it some consideration and figure out where it falls into the budgeting and that kind of stuff if it's something we want to go ahead with. So if I could just maybe get a motion. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Thank you.
Move to thank Hi Mrazek for a content partnership proposal.
Excellent. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thanks very much, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, that takes us to item 4 on the agenda, specifically 4.1, which is the adoption of the minutes for the June 11th, 2026 regular council meeting. If I could get a motion on that, that would be great. Councillor Quantz, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to move to adopt the June the 11th, 2026 regular council meeting minutes as presented.
Thank you. Is there any questions or comments on the minutes? Sorry, I should maybe do that first, but go ahead, Bob.
Item 8.2, Pickleball Committee, it states moved by Councillor Bob Warren.
He's a lesser-known councillor.
We can amend that and just change the motion to as amended instead of as presented and correct that typo. Sorry about that, Councillor.
I'll change it to as amended.
Hang on one second. Just make sure there's nothing else, though, Norm.
Sure.
Anything further? No? Okay, so would you like to restate the motion then?
Yeah, I'd like to restate the same motion as amended.
As amended. Thank you. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Okay, that takes us on to item 4.2, which is the June 12th, 2026 special council meeting minutes. I'll open up the floor for any questions or comments, concerns around those before we get a motion. Doesn't appear to be any. Okay.
I move the council adopt the June 12, 2026 special council meeting minutes as presented.
Excellent. Thank you. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay, that takes us to item 5 on the agenda, which is a public hearing. So, council will now recess the regular council meeting, and I will call to order the public hearing to consider several land use amending bylaws at 6:22. I do apologize. I don't normally have a phone on my desk, but the clock in our council chambers has malfunctioned today, so I have to use that as my source of time. Council will consider each of the following bylaws, which received first reading on February. That's incorrect. Did I get the corrected date for the first reading?
This is for land use bylaw 2026-13.
This is, yes, correct. It's just the wrong date was put in there.
Okay,
In the form, that's all.
we'll get that adjusted.
Excellent. June 27th? May 27th? Thank you. Appreciate it. I was given first reading May 27th, 2026, and the following order to ask for questions from the gallery following the introduction of each bylaw 2026-13 and MR Disposal Plan 0514037, Block 18, Lot 1. At the end of the public hearing, I'll ask for one last call for questions from the gallery, including those on Zoom, which I don't believe will have any, pardon me. This is not functioning today, correct? Excuse me. And council on any of the bylaws prior to the close of the public hearing. For those participating, never mind, forget that part. Sorry, we don't have Zoom tonight. We ask that you please use the raise hand function, which won't be needed. So, excuse me. I'll ask that the introduction for amending bylaw 2026-13, if the council or if the administration could do an introduction as to what we're reviewing tonight.
Thank you. Can we go to page 25 of the agenda, please? Thank you. So I'll just give, to begin with, I'll just do a brief time history for the property. So in 2004, Chinook's Edge submitted an application for a subdivision, and in part it was to create this particular lot. That subdivision was approved on September 29th of 2004. Then in November of 2005, this parcel and the other ones were registered. In 2010, the title was transferred from ownership of Chinook's Edge School Division to the town of Didsbury. And I'd also like to point out that we have owned it since then, and this property is not considered in the joint use planning agreement with Chinook's Edge and the town. I would also like to say that the report that's in the package does have just a very brief summary of concerns and information that was received. And I'd like to acknowledge all of the people that have submitted their information, their concerns, and their questions to administration, and those letters have been included in your package. So I'll just briefly go through some of those concerns. A common question that has been seen is why can't this property remain as space or open space or a park? So just for clarity and the information on the background, the property was advertised for sale as potential future residential development. So it has always been made aware of, the public has been able to see on the listing that this was the future indicated plan or idea for this property. And as we can see in this slide here, is surrounded by residential property on 3 sides of this parcel. The town has an inventory of quite a number of parks and green spaces. Most notably in relationship to this property is the basketball court directly to the east of this lot. There is a park with a playground equipment south along 23rd Street at 17th Avenue. To the north behind the museum is a green space lot. That is municipal reserve lot. It's a grassed area. There's no playground facilities in there, but it's certainly an area for people to go and enjoy the green area. And most recently, there has been a green space developed located on 20th Avenue next to the K&W Drive-In. So all of these are within the central area of the town of Didsbury. It has also been asked, has a full planning review been conducted related to the impacts of this property becoming developed? So I'd just like to indicate that what we're considering tonight is simply the change of the land use from institutional to a residential district, and that is all we're considering tonight. Administration has not received an application for the future development of the property. So we don't know what's going to go on there. We just are asking that it be redesignated to residential so that it can be developed in the future for residential purposes. The property is not owned by the town of Didsbury. It has been sold to a private landowner. The future proposals and redevelopment of this property must comply with all the town statutory documents as well as the land use bylaw. Should a proposal include subdivision of the property, that's an application that would be circulated to landowners within the area so that they can see what the future of that lot would look like. Also, if it was a proposal to create a number of lots, we would also have them comply with the municipal development plan and ask for a conceptual scheme to be completed. That conceptual scheme would also include some consultation with the public. There would be some more in-depth studies done within the property. We would be looking at things like a stormwater management plan. We'd be looking at a servicing plan for the property. We'd be looking at ensuring that any lots that are being proposed would comply with the land use bylaw. And we'd also be looking at transportation within the property if they were going to add some roads, some alleyways, or things like that within the property. All of these things would take quite a bit more work, a lot more detailed review of the property and any proposals. Also, I would point out that the MDP, our Municipal Development Plan, and the Central Core Heritage Plan both identify this property to be within policy areas that support residential development. Concerns have been noted in relationship to parking for parents dropping off and picking up students for the school. This concern actually should be addressed with Chinook's Edge. This now is a private piece of property, and I certainly acknowledge that that is a concern, but that's something that maybe Chinook's Edge would be able to work with parents and trying to figure out how to make it a safe place to be able to drop off and pick up their kids. Common concern is the potential increase of traffic in this multifamily development home. We don't know if it's a multifamily development, but that would also be a part of the review just to see how many cars or how many households or how many properties are going to be proposed on this lot. It's being redesignated to R2 residential district, which has a variety of different types of residential uses. So it could be a dwelling duplex, it could be a semi-detached dwelling proposal, it could be single detached dwelling proposal. So at this point, until we see something, we don't know what kind of density we'd be looking at on this property. So other than that, I can look at some further questions if there's any questions, but that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Are we asking questions of us or of this group? Any clarification?
We'll certainly get to that in just a minute.
Thank you.
If you have questions, you can come up to this little desk here and speak into the mic. Absolutely. We'll go through sort of an order. The council will share any questions or concerns that they have, and then we'll open it up to the room. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. That was very thorough. Appreciate it. I will open up the floor to questions, comments from council. Go ahead.
Yeah, just, I know that there's been interest in remaining a park and concern about, as mentioned from Tracy, and yet I think one of the things that hasn't been mentioned yet, and that is that the town paid a significant amount in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for this property, from my understanding, from the original purchase of it from the county. And so there is a significant investment already with the town in that property for money investment. I just wanted to add that one.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Anything further? No? Okay. I will open it up to questions and comments from the gallery for those that are in favor. Okay, move on. I will open up to questions from the gallery for those that are in opposition. If anyone has any questions or comments and would like to come up. Please introduce us to yourself, full name, if you don't mind.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Munn, and I'm a 29-year resident.
Just need to push the little button.
Oh, is there a button still? I should know this. 29 years I've lived in Didsbury. We have a business that is in Didsbury, and I have raised my children in Didsbury. So the first question I have for this particular layout we have is, there is a green space on the south end. Is that the basketball court? That is the basketball court, correct? Okay. Then we've got the green space on the north side, and there seems to be a black line that is on the diagonal from the one west side of the property to the northwest corner of, I'm going to believe that is the museum's property, correct? Do you see that diagonal line?
Go ahead.
Thanks for that question. So,
Well, I haven't asked it yet. I just want to know why there's a diagonal line. Yes.
that's what I'm going to ask.
Okay.
Yeah. So what that diagonal line is showing you that little triangle has been taken out of that green space.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no longer part of the green space. It was taken out and consolidated with that triangle to the north of
Okay.
the property.
Okay. So technically, that diagonal should be in yellow. Thank you. Then there's a green line that goes from the south side of 21st Avenue to the north side meets 22nd Avenue. That green space, along with the basketball court, was part of the development plan and following building permit to the builder who put the brownstones on the west side of the museum. Now, this was a gift to the town of Didsbury in order to comply with acquiring the development permit and the building permit. I'm not fully understanding how green space that is gifted by a developer is now being used for other purposes other than green space. So I'll just leave it there. And then the other piece of history is that the property that has now been sold to a private landowner, it was on the MLS for $550,000. I know exactly what the town paid for it because of the Brownstone project. To the taxpayers of Didsbury, it's over $250,000 difference between what was paid for that and what it has now sold for. And I also know that there was an offer put in for this same amount of money back in 2010 and was communicated by the town of Didsbury at that time that the town of Didsbury wanted to retain that piece of property and wanted to have control over what would be on that property. That same property is now on the chopping block to become an R2. And I'm sorry, I'm just completely opposed to that. I'm completely opposed to green space being redesignated. There was to be a path that was to be put between 21st Avenue and 22nd Avenue. It has been 16 years and that path is not there. Still not there. That's very upsetting. So I just really think that if, as a resident, business owner, I'm not a resident, excuse me, I own property in Didsbury. But I think where we're at now is what other green spaces are going to be chopped up, cut up, simply because we're not requiring it any longer. What about the soccer field that's up at West Hills, West Heights area? There's soccer fields over by the school. They can be used. Why don't we just chop that up? Why don't we chop up the park that's across the street from Mr. Engel's home? Excuse me, Kurt, but there is a park there because we have a playground at the school. So I guess really what I'm communicating here is what value does this current council give to the green spaces that are being gifted to retain the beautification of this small town? The other question that I have, and it just flew out of my mind.
I'll ask that it be the last one just because we have a time limit.
Oh, we don't have time for more? Okay.
One more.
One more question?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll just let it go. I can always put something in writing. That's okay. But that's really just where I'm at, is I'm just questioning the integrity of green space and, you know, when all of a sudden a town decides, oh, it's just not required anymore. And that it just gets put on the market for so much less than what it was bought for to retain. Oh, yes, I do have a comment. I do remember. As far as I'm concerned, it is the town of Didsbury's responsibility and integrity to work together with the Chinook Edge School Division to see to it that children are safe, that parents are safe, when the children are being picked up or having to be dropped off. To sit there and say it's not our responsibility is not a good comment to make. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate your comments. Thank you very much.
I'll come. Good job. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. Welcome. If you could introduce yourself, that would be great. Thank you.
My name's Jody Roll. I live, this big fancy butt, and look how technical this is. I'm loud anyways. My name's Jody Roll. I just live over in West Hills. Thank you, Tracy, for answering most of my questions that I sent on June 4th. Much appreciated. I do want to ask, though, from a JUPA perspective, though, this was purchased before JUPA was even created. So what was agreed from the municipal reserve perspective of when that land was sold from the school division, and how does that fall under Alberta Ed and the historical part of it?
Yeah. So it's not contained in the JUPA that we have signed now. It was never a shared property with the school division after the sale occurred. It just became town property.
Okay, so then when I was looking into that last year, there was supposed to be a committee formed based on the town with the school boards to talk about that land. And what happened there?
Last council's dealings, 'cause
All due respect, I get it's last council's. I totally get it. Hence why I'm sitting here talking about this right now, instead of having to reply back to my email in regards to there's a reason why school boards and the government of Alberta sell those lands to municipalities. Historical, go digging deep in there. There's a reason why we do it. So I would like to know what happened in the point that we are going to up and root this to make it into a residential area instead of, I don't know, how about some better basketball nets? Because the one net is not good. How about an outdoor hockey rink so I don't have to go to Olds with my kids and my family to play? Pickleball court, tennis court. There's so much more opportunity than putting a home in here to cause problems for bylaw, because I only see one gentleman walking around here. The traffic assessment analysis through the government, I haven't seen that. So I would just like to literally, if we guys can just defer this to like make sure you just covered your everything to the fullest and make sure that this is what the town wants. Because right now, I see people using it for their dogs. Hockey net would be wicked, I'm not gonna lie, like something in there fun. So that was all I just wanted to say, was please just defer it for a bit so you can hear some of our input on this. Because I don't think anybody's listening to any of this town when it comes to community building. So that's it, thank you.
Well, I appreciate your input, and I appreciate the well thought out communication that you sent us. It was thoughtful. Like, you actually did some research and put thought into what you wrote us, so it was nice to see.
Yeah, I left the emotions out of all of this because I think it needs to be we need to look at the liabilities here.
I understand. We have several factors that we have to weigh into our decisions like this, the tax base being one of them. We have a very service-heavy town that has a lot of recreational properties that are very expensive to run, and we don't have the tax base to support it. So unless there's kind of three options on the table, we can either start increasing taxes heavily to support these things and to pay for them as costs continue to go up, or we can bring more families to this town to support the tax base, or, third options.
Or you work as a community and see if there's other people out there that can buy the land. Because when it came up for $550,000, I could have bought it. And then I find out it was sold before it even hit MLS. So you're not even giving opportunity to people to wrangle a whole bunch of group to just buy the land and leave it as is. So then we can have events and functions close to town, close to everything.
I understand that.
Yep. So no, that was everything.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate your comment. Anything further? Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate it. Oh, a little too early.
Kathleen Windsor, I am a resident, big taxpayer. January last year, I made a presentation to town council, granted, different CAO, different council. However, it's in your files. And it had to do with a whole pile of research that I had done on this particular property. And I had endorsements from well over 200 people. I had letters of endorsement from both Westland Middle School and from Rossford Elementary School, from a couple of landowner nearby residents, and from I forget, somebody else. Anyways, a lot of people. And the question was, please leave this as a green space. The reason is that this was the last piece of land that was town-owned that could be a green space. When Mr. Poffenroth was here a few weeks ago, he explained that with all the area structure plans that we have in town right now on the go, we have enough land planned in residential area for the next 50 years. This piece did not have to be turned into residential. So that's my little preamble. However, I would like also to know when the property was listed for sale, because I tend to think of myself as fairly well informed, and I missed it. And I would have been able to react with my people to say, don't sell this. So I guess that's my first question, is when was it listed? And how was it listed? And then the second part is the rezoning of this property contingent upon, is the sale of the property contingent upon the rezoning?
I'll answer part of that, and I'll let the CEO answer some of the specifics around the listing date. I'm going to address the pricing issue. We were given a valuation by a realtor based on fair market value for the property, and that's what it was listed at. The property value may have been $780, something like that, whatever it was back in the day, but that was not the number today. We did a market study and had a realtor do that for us. That's why the property was listed at said price.
That was not one of my questions.
No, I'm just covering some of that off because it was asked a couple of times and I didn't get a chance to speak to it, so I'm addressing that. It was listed through a realtor. It should have been listed on MLS, and I'll just get you the dates here through the CEO in a second.
Yeah, typically we wouldn't be doing a Q&A in a public hearing, but receiving comments. But Kathleen, I'll give you your answer the best that I'm able to. I don't recall it. It was this spring because they had to have some conversations first about what may lie beneath the ground. They had to revisit some information that was prepared by the town a few years ago by our former director of public works and engineering. But it was listed on MLS through a realtor. They appointed Jesse Arquetta, who put that up for them. And the resolution index will show when that was appointed, when that appointment was made. That would be a sort of tracking point for going back and seeing when it was offered.
Thank you.
So you don't have off the top of your head when the property was listed?
I don't, Kathleen, I'm sorry.
How about a month?
It's either March or April, to my knowledge.
And so I would have to follow MLS in order to find out whether any property in Disbury was being offered for sale?
Typically, most people looking to buy property follow MLS, yes. Or they'll check with the local realtors, yes. Were you doing any of those things?
No,
Okay.
because I expected to hear about it at a town council meeting, which I follow every week.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Nothing. Oh, no. Can I also get an answer on that? Is the sale of the property contingent on this rezoning application being made tonight?
I can't speak to the terms and conditions yet. The deal isn't closed, Kathleen, but in all likelihood, most properties, rezoning is a pretty common thing. That's a condition of sale, yes. Yeah.
Close enough. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Welcome.
Speaking
If
into
you could-
this?
if you could turn on the mic and just introduce yourself, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, which button? This
Big
one.
in the middle.
That one? Perfect. Okay, my name is Heike Motors, and the property where I live backs onto what is here in Didsbury known as the Moose Park. I think I have something in common with some of the councillors. I only moved here about 4 years ago, enjoyed the little town, enjoyed what the town has to offer, and really was quite impressed that the community support with one another, and that's fine. Now, I did speak to Mrs. Connaty because I had to familiarize myself because if you detect a German accent, that's unfortunately limits my understanding about how this works, okay? One of the things that my major concern is, and I have watched development in Didsbury, is the designation of an R2. Now, R2 means duplex. We have just seen R2 designation moved up, and when it was just on ground level, it was very obvious that it wasn't built as a duplex, but it was built as a duplex with 2 legal suites in the bottom, which means a property that really potentially, should you have one house with maximum 2 family, has now 4 units. There are parking issues, there are wastewater issues that I don't need to tell you about. And when I talked with my neighbor, to Mrs. Carnati, in regards to that, she said, oh, but these people, these developers, have to comply with building laws. Now, I do know there's an immense amount of laws on the paper already, but how do we enforce them? You see, when something like this is, when a developer, once they have the shovels in the ground and build, do you have enough inspectors? Do you have enough people to literally make sure that these developers, that their main interest is profit? Let's face that. And so, can you enforce actually the bylaws that are quite, I got the residential listing district bylaws, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm glad I don't have to enforce them. I mean, they are endless. There are no sunshine laws. There is everything that has be put on the paper and into law. There it is. You know, you have to comply. So where is the security for all those people that live around? And you can see there are quite a few houses that are affected with parking issues, with water issues, with wastewater issues. I mean, these are not just, as Didsbury has found out, just things that you can brush under the table and say, oh, we deal with it when we have to. You have a boondoggle that proves we deal with it when we have to, how that can impact the town and what it looks like. So where are the guarantees? Rather than saying, okay, R2, why don't you say an R1, which limits it to 1 family unit and 1 legal suite? That parking-wise and might be viable, but this R2 really rips this property open to a development that will not make anybody happy who lives around there and needs then to deal with the increase of all kinds of issues that you bring when on a small property all of a sudden you have 4 family units living.
Understood. The enforcement of the building codes and land use bylaws would be done by the province. They send inspectors out. You know, they have to file for a permit with the city. I'll maybe let the folks in the office that deal with that stuff explain that a little bit better. And they have to follow what is filed. And then inspectors come up from the province and do inspections to make sure that they are building what they are supposed to be building. So they do have to follow the rules that are in place, both provincially and in our land use bylaws. But and then that is enforced by inspectors.
Yeah, may a little. I'm not asking. I'm not questioning your integrity. I'm questioning the effectiveness of saying, okay, there will be building inspections and there will be inspections, because what I have seen is loopholing in many, many issues.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate your feedback. Any further comments or questions from the gallery? Sorry, in opposition?
Yeah, I have one more. May I come up one more time? It's a quick one.
I'll ask. No, I'm unfortunately.
No? Somebody asked about the Central Heritage Core Plan.
Okay, you know what?
Yes.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
We'll forego the formalities.
Okay. I will. My name is. Oh yes.
I used to do this when town council would meet at the other building. I'd always forget to push that button. Only then we had to stand. This is rather nice now to be able to sit. So what area, again, remind me, is the Central Core Heritage Plan inclusive of? Like, what does that plan in this map include? Refresh my memory. It's been a long time.
I will defer to the administration on that. I don't want to overburden. Sorry.
Certainly, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't have a map up there, but this is within the Central Core Heritage Plan, which is a redevelopment plan. The policy area that this is within is the residential policy area of that document.
So the residential area has a different set of architectural elevation guidelines than the businesses?
Thank you through the chair, yes.
They do, okay. That was just really my question, is I'm quite confused by the Central Core Heritage Plan. The idea was that we, as residents of Didsbury, were going to retain that heritage feel of the core. And I think that we have had one build now that really stands out, that is in no way respectful of a heritage core plan, which that's part of living in Didsbury, folks. You enjoy this community for its beauty, its heritage, its history, and part of that is being in compliance with a heritage plan, residential or business. It's got to comply. Thank you.
I'll just add that when council reviewed the offers for this property, that was something that we insisted on, that whatever was developed for this site conformed to the look and feel of that area, that we would not accept high density apartment buildings, et cetera. They had to be homes that looked and fit the character of the downtown core, the houses that already exist there.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that we insisted upon, quite frankly. I'm oversharing, but that is something that we discussed.
I appreciate oversharing. I do it a lot. Did you just say vinyl siding?
Yeah, they didn't want vinyl siding.
No, they didn't want vinyl siding, and yet what we've got next door to the brownstones is vinyl siding. Unacceptable. I'm sorry, it just is. Anyways, thank you so much. Oh, I have to say my name again. Sandra Munn. M-U-N-N.
Thank you, Sandra.
You're used to it.
Appreciate it. Okay, are there further comments? I don't want to, oh, sorry. I guess I opened the door to this already, so.
Okay, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. However, I also like the idea of a councillor who is open-minded, and I have seen that from many of you. You now have a decision, and I realize that pretty much you guys have already made up your mind, but on the chance that any of you are thinking otherwise, please do not approve this rezoning. Let the community come back to you and tell you what they want. We know what they want. You should know what they want, and it is not residences in that area. Please trust your heart on this vote. Thank you.
Thank you again. Okay, I will assume that that's the last of the comments in opposition. Okay, thank you. Excellent. We will move on to MR Disposal Plan 051437, Block 18, Lot 1. I will ask for the introduction from administration.
Thank you. So this is tied to this property. It's also tied to that subdivision that I indicated when Chinook's Edge did apply for a subdivision. So a condition of the subdivision was dedication of municipal reserve. And the Chinook's Edge, when that was the condition, they approached the town at that time and asked the town if they could dedicate as a part of that municipal reserve lot number 7. So lot number 7 is known as the basketball court, and it was shown on that slide as that green triangle. So that was proposed to the town to have that transferred to the town to be dedicated as municipal reserve land, would be a partial dedication and look after a portion of that, the requirement for municipal reserve. At the time, it was agreed by the town that they would take that municipal reserve, or that lot as portion of the municipal reserve. There is a little bit left over, and the little bit that was left over was registered as what is called a deferred reserve caveat. The deferred reserve caveat is what we're discussing, registered on high school land. So what this public hearing is to have council consider the removal of the deferred reserve caveat on that title. Going forward, any changes to that land, municipal reserve within that specific parcel would be reconsidered once again. And secondly, within this proposal, it has been identified that the basketball court does not say municipal reserve on its title. So as I put in this report, council can have a bylaw that will dedicate a property as municipal reserve. So there's two considerations within this public hearing for the municipal reserve caveat, and that is consideration of the removal of the caveat from the high school lands. And then I have put in here that asking if council is interested to direct administration to come back to a future meeting with a bylaw for the dedication of lot number 7 to become a municipal reserve lot. And then it would remain as a municipal reserve public lot moving forward. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that introduction. Much appreciated. I'll open up the floor to council.
So that's the green square on the bottom, which would be the south. That's the one where the basketball court is presently. By redesignating it would remain as a basketball court, or it would be municipal reserve, nothing would be built on that.
Through the chair, yes, thanks for that question. So when I did the research on the titles in this area, that particular lot, and I'll call it the basketball court, lot number 7, is shown as being owned by the town, which makes it a fee simple type of a lot. So in order to maintain it as municipal reserve and have it stay as a public lot, it can be, we can dedicate it as municipal reserve through a bylaw. So that's what I've introduced in here, is having council request that administration come back with a bylaw that will dedicate that lot and that title to become a municipal reserve lot, and then it would remain as a public lot moving forward for municipal reserve purposes. The Municipal Government Act has very strict guidelines on what can be a municipal lot can be used for, and what it's being used for now is something that it can remain.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from council? No? Okay. Excuse me. I'll move on to questions or comments from the gallery that are in favor of the change. Okay. I'll move on to questions or comments from the gallery that are in opposition, but I'll ask that if it's the same opposition that you voiced previously, that you refrain. If you have some new information to share, we're happy to hear it. Okay. Not hearing any, I'll move on then. Are there any additional comments from council, I guess, on any of these matters that we discussed? Okay. Any additional comments from the administration on the bylaws? Changes?
No further comments, thank you.
Okay. Is there anything additional that anyone in the gallery, I'm sorry, we don't have any virtual participants, so I guess just the gallery, would like to add? Or are there any more comments before we close the public hearing? Sorry.
Through the chair to Kathleen Windsor, the listing was put up on April 16th.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Appreciate that. Excellent. Hearing no more, I declare that the public meeting is adjourned, and the regular council meeting shall reconvene at 7:05. Okay. That takes us to item 6 on the agenda, which is the CAO report. Everybody had a chance to review that. Do we have any questions, comments?
I don't have a question. I'd just like a comment. I'd like to thank Michael for including your letter in the package. I think that was very gentlemanly of you. And it was really great to see the weekly progress report for the reservoir project with pictures. I thought that just really added to the report and helped those that aren't following it understand it. So I would just do a shout out for administration on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other further comments or questions? So I gotta, oh, go ahead. Yep.
Seeing this is our last formal meeting, I would like to thank our CEO for the thorough reporting that he's done over the time that we've had him. Thank you, Michael, and best wishes to you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other further questions or comments? All right. Excellent. If I could just get a motion on the CAO report, then that would be great.
I move to accept the Chief Administrative Officer's report for June 23rd, 2026 as information.
Excellent. Thank you. All in favor of the motion? The motion is carried. Sorry, and I've just got to get caught up with my paperwork here. There we go. Okay. All right. So that takes us to bylaws and policies, item 7.1, which is bylaw 2026-13, land use amending bylaw, which is what we just reviewed a few minutes ago. I'll open up the floor to questions or comments.
No, I don't know the exact what is sort of permitted to ask this sort of question, so I'm kind of directing this halfway to administration. How much of the discussion with the buyer is subject to discussion at this point, if any?
You know, generally my advice would be just until the deal is concluded, sharing details of the deal should remain in camera. But the ultimate authority of what details to divulge of your deal is council, so that'll be up to you guys.
Sure, take a minute.
Why have we selected, I'm trying to phrase this in a way that is hopefully permissible to discuss in an appropriate manner. Sorry? Based on the selection of the project that I was in favor of, the zoning of R2 seems to be unnecessarily additive based on my understanding of what was presented. Is that a fair way to say that?
I'm just gonna paraphrase the question to my planning staff here through the chair. The use of the zone R2 for the type of development where we're gonna have single-family homes, narrow, tighter lots. I guess Councillor Stevens is just asking, could R1 have worked? Is there a danger using R2? And I'm extrapolating at this point, but I think I know where you're going, Will. Is there a danger in R2 that you will see what we would call in our world high-density developments? And my short answer is no, there's no danger. This works for exactly what is being proposed. It's fully appropriate, but I'll let Leanne explain a little more if she wants to. Yes, okay, thank you.
Through the chair, thank you. So the difference in the R1 district, single family, and the R2 is the uses. So in the R1, you can only have the single family dwelling. You can apply for a secondary suite. You can have 2 max dwellings per titled lot. Only 2, not 4. The ones that were spoken of earlier, that property was subdivided. So there's 2 on one side, 2 on the other. The difference is the size, so the maximum size. So in the R1, it has to be a minimum of 1,060 square feet, where in the R2, it's 898, the floor area. And in the R2, you can do single family as well, but also the semi-detached side by side and the duplex, one above the other.
So theoretically, you could do a single-family detached home with an 800 square foot basement suite, as opposed to having to have a larger basement and a larger suite under the R1.
Yes, that's correct.
I'm kind of paraphrasing, sorry. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
As a follow-up to that, and forgive my lack of understanding, I'm trying to learn. Once the property is held by a buyer, who is not us, whomever that is, and the land use is redesignated as something else, if a change to the vision of what would be built there is made by the people who own that property that is different from what was presented, are there any stopgaps at that point, or is it not our land, not our jurisdiction at any point?
So through the chair, so not being part of any discussion of what is to be developed, I don't know what is being planned to be developed there. I won't know until I get a development permit application. So I have to follow what's in the land use bylaw and the municipal development plan. So if it says they can build a semi-detached dwelling, I have no reason to deny that application based on the land use bylaw. So I just follow what's in there. So currently, if it gets zoned to R2, like I mentioned, single family dwelling, semi-detached dwelling, and a duplex dwelling, I would take it in. It's a permitted use in that district, which means I make the decision as long as it follows those STAT plans and regulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm just going to throw into this, just to sort of build on the back end of that in real time. The potential purchaser had a lengthy conversation with council about the Downtown Heritage Core guidelines. They understand them. They understand that it's council's desire to see their design reflect those architectural features. So we're talking red brick, some wrought black iron, perhaps wood, things of that nature, peaked roofs. While the approved use is as the development officer states, I think there's no productivity in speculating that the developer may change their mind because they are a member of the local community. They put their word out there that they would work with council on that vision, and I fully believe that they will execute a project that fits exactly what council is looking for in consideration of those guidelines. So that's my judgment for what it's worth for the members of the public. I don't think there'll be any issues with that.
No, and I'll add that part of their ethos is to build affordable entry-level homes for first-time buyers, for young families, and that is something that I think we can all agree we desperately need everywhere, not just in Didsbury. And so that was, I think, for me, that was a big selling feature of going with the buyer that came forward, as opposed to a different one. So I'll add that. And Will, thank you very much for the question, because I had the same concerns about, based on, sorry, I've forgotten the lady's name that came up with the German accent, but she raised a valuable point, and I had the same concerns that you did, so thank you for asking the question. Any further, Bob?
At what point in this would a developer have to address the core requirements? Is it during when they apply for the permit? Is that when it?
So at the subdivision stage, if they're subdividing to put the roads in, then it would be reviewed there by Tracy, the planner. And then once the development permit comes in, we also look at it there, because then that's where I take care of the architectural guidelines. And they are aware of this Central Core Heritage Plan, because I've had initial discussions like on different developments, and I've personally given them a copy of this plan in the past on other stuff, so they are aware of the plan.
Thank you. So there are multiple places where there are checks and balances in accordance to the core requirements. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Good question. Oh, Norm? Sorry, I saw a hand going up. It was just going to your chin, I guess. Okay. Anything else over here? All right. I guess at this point, unless there's any other questions or comments, I'll ask for a motion. Go ahead.
I move that council grant second reading to land use amending bylaw 2026-13.
Excellent. Thank you, Troy. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. If I can ask for a follow-up, Troy.
Move that council grant third and final reading to land use amending bylaw 2026-13.
Excellent. Thank you. All in favor of the motion? Motion is also carried. Thank you. Okay, that takes us to item 8 on the agenda, which is business. First of which is 8-1, which is Plan 05-14037. Sorry, forgive me for a second. Block 18, Lot 1, the MR disposal. Everybody's had a chance to review this and understands what we're making a decision on. I'll open up the floor to comments. Kurt, sorry, do you have a comment? No? Okay. Okay. Any other comments or questions before? Okay. Kurt, go ahead.
I move that council approve the removal of the municipal reserve dedication caveat for Plan 05-14037, Block 18, Lot 1.
Thank you, Kurt. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried.
And I move the council directs administration to prepare and bring forward a bylaw to the August 25th, 2026 regular council meeting to add a municipal reserve designation to Plan 51161, Block 15, Lot 7, located at 2126 20th Avenue.
Thank you, sir. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay. That takes us to item 8.2, which is update to the bank signing authorities effective July 1st, 2026. Everyone understands what we're making a decision on here, and I'll open up the floor to any questions. Yep, go ahead. Thank you.
I move to rescind resolution 540-25 that states to approve the administrative bank signing authorities for all Connect First Credit Union accounts as follows: Chief Administrative Office Michael Simpson, Chief Financial Officer Amanda Riley, Manager of Financial Services Shannon Milligan.
Thank you for the motion. All in favor? The motion is carried.
And move to approve the administrative bank signing authorities for all service credit union banking and loan accounts as follows. Interim Chief Administrative Officer, Vanessa Vandermeer. Chief Financial Officer, Amanda Riley.
Excellent. Thank you. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay, that takes us to item 8.3, which is the 2026 community grant funding. Everybody had a chance to review the proposed grant allotments for this year? I'll open the floor to any questions or comments then. Doesn't look that way. You do have one, okay. You've been suspiciously quiet tonight, Norm.
I wanted to agree with the ones that are less than the 50% that were mentioned there. That was the recommendation is the ones that are over 50% have their rating over 50%, that I wanted to agree with that, and I would also agree with the total group of 9 that are being selected.
Oh, okay, thanks for clarifying. I thought you were saying you wanted to approve the ones that were below 50%. Sorry, thanks for clarifying.
Sorry, no. I agree with eliminating the ones that are less than 50%.
Understood.
I agree with those that are more.
Understood. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Sorry, took yours. Okay. All right, I'll just ask for a motion on that, please.
Move the council approve the 2026 community grant funding of $16,500 as follows. Cadet Parents Association number 3025 for $2,000. Didsbury Aquajet Swim Club, $2,000. Didsbury Rec Hockey Association, $2,000. Didsbury Minor Hockey Association, $2,000. Didsbury Elks Lodge number 514, $2,000. Northern Trails Riding Club, $500. Heart to You Didsbury, $2,000. Didsbury Figure Skating Club, $2,000. Didsbury Agricultural Society, $2,000.
Excellent, thank you, Will. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay, that takes us on to the item 8.4, which is the partnership project, the Sterling Rock display. I'll open up the floor to discussion with the council.
Probably defer to our chair.
Go ahead.
Yes, I acknowledge a perceived conflict of interest in participating in this partnership project, Sterling Rock Display, since I was involved in their committee work last summer preparing the completed application. So I request permission from council to remain present but decline commenting or voting.
Okay. Appreciate your transparency, Norm. Thank you very much. Do we need a, sorry, I'll just ask for, do we need a motion on that?
No.
No? Okay, thank you. Excellent. Any other comments in favor, opposed, anything?
Well, yeah, I just, I hope you guys had a chance to look at the location. And
Yes.
we had discussions with the group, and I think everybody is really happy with the location, as long as council sees fit that that's a great location for it as well. I think it's a sweet spot for it, so.
So to clarify, the location is as I understand it, the red dot that's located on the map, just off the center. And I believe the piece of land will be 15 square feet. Go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, I think the committee met and we discussed, and we had several locations that we wanted to look at. And we'll thank Troy for physically going there and doing the measurements. And I think that a couple that we originally thought would be a great place just didn't work for various reasons. And I agree with the committee that this location is the safest and presents the least liability to a car running into it or anything. So I agree. I hope the other members of council can see what we've done there. So.
Thank you. I'll elaborate a little bit on the proposal for those that may be unfamiliar. So this is a partnership. The town is essentially donating the 15 square feet to them for use. The cost of building the monument, I'll call it, I guess, and the installation will be covered by the folks that came to us with the proposal, and will have to be fundraised by them. This is not something that's being paid for by the town, just for clarity for everyone. Bob, go ahead.
Just a question on that location. We've discussed previously that the town of Didsbury had a recreation master plan in 2019 that would have used some of that land that is there. And so my question is was that considered during the committee meeting? That might be some prime real estate for any changes we might make to that to the complex.
Through the chair, could we deflect that to Nicole?
Deflected. Thank you for the question. So we met on site, and when we took a look at the property, where the red dot is kind of in a triangular piece of land. On one side is a urban forest that's been planted that was donated by Rogers along our new pathway, and on the other side is the new parking lot. This isn't a large piece of green space, but the plan is that the Sterling display would also kind of trigger a little bit of rehabilitation to that area, because when we were having the construction, the grass kind of got torn down. We had a meeting about it today. So we want to bring back that portion of the land to its former glory and add some picnic tables, make it so that it isn't, another space that's enjoyable there. That park space gets a ton of use. So to have additional seating is great. The outline plan is what you're referring to. So that was a proposal for some development that would happen on the green space there, or on the outlying lands of the memorial complex. And so what is still outstanding in that is a basketball court that I think could still be accommodated depending on the dog park, which I know a lot of this is coming up in your strat planning. So I think that if we were to be able to find a better location for the dog park, then that would free up a really large portion of land that could be used to add some of those elements. When you heard from the pickleballers, and tennis is the same, those are very noisy sports, and because that parcel of land butts up against residential on two sides, those wouldn't be facilities that we would recommend for this property, but Memorial Park would be a much better space for it. So I think that with some of the ideas that council has with their recent strategic planning, and if we're able to accomplish some of those, it will free up land to be able to add some of those elements back into that space, or others that you may come up with over the next few years.
Thank you for that response.
Question, Bob? Thank you. Any other further questions, comments? Okay, if I could just get a motion then, I'd appreciate it.
I move to approve the Sterling Rock Display project and allocate the land directly east of the Didsbury Aquatic Center within the green space for the display. Contingent on the Sterling Rock Committee fully funding all construction and installation costs.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay, that takes us to item 8.5 on the agenda, which is golf course septic cleanout costs. So this is a request for some funds to be used from the Strategic Initiative and Contingency Reserve that's the same fund that's essentially funding the new line that's going to be put in and tie the golf course into the main sanitary line in the city for essentially $6,000 to $7,000 to fund the continued pumping out of the septic tank that's requiring replacement for the remainder of the season. Right? Everybody understands all that. Excellent. Okay, I'll open up the floor to comments or questions. Nothing? Okay, oh, sorry. Go ahead then, Norm. Yep, yep, that's fine. Yep.
I'd like to move to approve the Didsbury Golf Club sanitary cleanout costs estimated at $7,000 for the entirety of the 2026 golf season to be funded from the town of Didsbury strategic initiatives and contingency reserve.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor. All in favor of the motion? Motion is approved, or carried, sorry. Okay, that takes us to item 8.6, the Didsbury Strategic Plan 2026 through 2029. I think we've all reviewed this at length over the last little while. Are there any further comments or questions on it before we get a motion? No? Okay. I think I heard over here already. That's all right.
I'd like to say good job on it, and I would recommend the council approve the Didsbury Strategic Plan for the period of 2026 through 2029 for implementation, and that the strategic, that's a tough word to say, plan be published on the town website for public access.
Thank you, Councillor. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay, that takes us to council reports, which I don't see any written. Are there any verbal reports that anyone needs to give? Will?
I just have a short verbal one, just based on time. So last night, the Mountain View Family Resource Network, MVFRN, in partnership with FCSS, held a presentation last night that I wanted to mention in brief. I was unable to attend in person, but I received a report from Program Supervisor Jennifer Lampier, and just want to highlight some of the details she mentioned. So MVFRN hosted a workshop last year titled Supporting 2S LGBTQ plus youth last year, and their follow-up this year, Being an Ally, Becoming an Engaged Bystander, reached capacity with 29 participants. Participants included community partners who work with youth, families, and friends, as well as interested community members. Post-session feedback was positive. Everyone indicated they felt more knowledgeable about what it means to be an ally, and they were happy to see this subject discussed openly in our community. And just learning more about FCSS and MVFRN, I was just happy to see some good engagement.
Excellent. Glad to hear that it was well attended. That's good. Thanks, Will. Any other council reports? No? Doesn't look like it. Excellent. If I could get a motion then, that would be great.
I move the council accept council reports as information.
Thanks very much, Councillor. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay. Don't have correspondence or information, so that just takes us to question period. So I'll open up the floor at this time for any questions from the gallery. Okay, I'll take that as a no. That takes us to the closed section of the meeting, so if I could get a motion for the close, that'd be great.
Look for a motion to go into closed session at 7:33 p.m.
Excellent. Thank you. All in favor of the... All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Sorry. I don't read lips. She goes, I can barely see that part.
I move that council come out of closed session at 7:50 PM.
Excellent, thank you. All in favor? Excellent, motion is carried. We need one final motion, which is based on a subject that we discussed in the closed section, which was related to the concessions at the curling rink to renew the contract of the current vendor. So if I could get the motion that we need on that, that would be great.
I move the council direct administration to enter into a 3-year lease of the Didsbury Memorial Complex with Prairie Whistle from September 1st, 2026 to August 31st, 2029, valued at, I won't put the value in, year 1, 3% increase, year 2, a 2% increase, year 3, a 0% increase, with an option for a 4th year at 0% increase.
Excellent, thank you, perfect. All in favor of the motion? Excellent, motion is carried. It's fine. If I could get one final motion. Will Scott? I think you got nominated.
I motion that council adjourn at 7:51 PM.
Excellent. All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.